Yeah, what's up? What's up? Um, I'm hearing about this movie called Laqueesha, and it's produced by a guy named Jeremy Saville. Where the backstory, the premise of the story is it's a Detroit set film where these white guys pretending to be a black woman who creates this buzz on the radio, and this is what he's doing for a job. He becomes a huge hit, and he's portraying this ghetto stereotype black woman. The radio stations never met him. They don't know who he is, and he becomes this mega star in Detroit or whatever for being this outspoken, opinionated black woman, and it goes viral. Now people are starting to get upset. My first question was like, okay, I'm thinking to myself, like, what the fuck was this guy thinking? And it's like, it's a real complex situation because it's like, it is comedy. It's obviously not going to go on the big screen, but you sit there and say, well, I think timing is everything. I'm like, I don't think this is the right time to put out a movie like that. Perfect example, a couple years ago, 2014, that was the summer of like all of the brutality police situations where you had Mike Brown laying in the street, Eric Gardner, and Damon Wayne's son put out a movie called Let's Be Cops. At the time, a black man playing a cop at that time, it just wasn't gonna fly. Niggas ain't want to see that. It flopped. This is right here, is right up there with it. Racial tension right now is at an all-time high in this country since like the 1960s. And I don't think this is the right time. Maybe 10, 15 years ago, it would have worked. Black people are more conscious now for the most part. You got 45 tweeting all day in the office and talking wild on the yard. I just don't think the time is right. The racial tension is too fucking thick. But the reason why he felt comfortable to do this, black people are the most disrespected people in this country. We don't show ourselves enough respect, so it's hard for us to demand respect. And I remember someone was like, well, if a black woman produced it, it would have been better. No, there's black women in this movie. You got a show that's one of the most popular shows on television, produced by a black woman named Mona Scott. And she produces Love and Hip Hop, and it portrays black women in some of the most negative images. So I don't even think a black woman would have saved this being behind the scenes. At the end of the day, black women are the most disrespected female genre in America, and it's not even close. But a lot of black women cater, rather they understand or not, they also participate in the disrespect in how they're carried in their image. And this guy felt comfortable enough because, like I say, you can say whatever. The only thing you can't say to us in a disrespectful manner is basically saying the N-word to our face. Other than that, you can say and do whatever. We have always been the most disrespected race. And it's usually because there's no consequences when you make fun of or when you clown black people. Now, on the other note, you're gonna have white people say, well, white chicks was black guys, dressing up in white face paint. First of all, blackface was out way before anybody black was dressing up as white people. Blackface goes back to the 1920s when they were doing stage plays. And then they had blackface cartoons. And then you had Birth of a Nation, which was one of the most popular, was one of the first big mainstream films, Birth of a Nation. Not the Nat Turner version. I'm talking the original version. They've been doing blackface for years, way before anybody, Martin Lawrence, anybody ever dressed up as a white woman. The thing about white chicks, that came out in 2004. I went to go see that. Sean and Marlon, the movie might be called White Chicks, but they weren't making fun of the entire female race of white women. They were really, it was one of their parody films. Like, they've always had parody films. They did the parodies of, the South Central LA gangbanging movies and Poetic Justice with Don't Be a Menace. They did the parody of horror flicks with Scary Movie 1 and 2. This is one of their parody films. And they were particularly making fun of Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie. At the time in 2004, before the Kardashian phenomenon, they were the two popping white girls in Hollywood that were just famous for no reason because of who their fathers were. Paris Hilton was, a Hilton, so she was popular and she was a trendsetter and she had the little dogs in her pocketbook. And Nicole was Lionel Richie's daughter. And before the Kardashian phenomenon, they were the ones. And they were really making fun of those two girls. They weren't making fun of the whole race. This guy, Jeremy Saville, He just decided to be a black woman on this radio show to get a job, and he gets the most ghettoest name he could think of. And I've heard worse than that. I've heard Quintasha, Bonquisha, Starkeisha. Good God. Some of that got to go on us. I don't know what some of these girls' moms was thinking when they named them that shit. But that's not, he put the whole black female race in a box, and he riled up some feathers. But that was another reason why this guy did it, because he knew it would get attention. This movie looks awful. And I'll put the trailer in the bio, in the description. This movie looks second-rate bullshit. I know it's not coming out in the theaters. Maybe Netflix. I don't even think Netflix would take it. It's probably too controversial. But internet film, whatever you want to call it. But this guy put the whole black female race in a big box. Like, this is what you are. So, but there's a lot of other things that we should be outraged about. Like, it should have been this same kind of outrage that black people have for this right here. We should have been this upset when Tiffany Haddish was passing out pieces of fried chicken last week at the Met Gala. At least, because that was a black woman actually doing that shit. Portraying that image and carrying out that stereotype. Like, we all have black women that, fry up chicken and, pop they gum loud and snap they neck and all of that. So it's okay for a black woman to do that, but when a white man does it, we get mad. And it's like, nah, it can't be that simple. It's like, we got to start holding ourselves accountable too, because when you get Tiffany Haddish doing shit like that, it opens up the doors for people to think, well, if they're letting her get away with making fun of the black race, we can do it too. And that's why this guy felt comfortable making a movie called fucking Laqueesha. You know what I'm saying? It is, and it's working, because now he's got everybody, talking about it, and this is what he wanted. This shit is a joke. It's a fucking joke. Now, I mean, I'm not necessarily pissed off about it, but it's just a point that I'm making is we only get upset when someone from another race, pulls up a stair. But it shouldn't even matter if it's a black guy like him, a white guy like him, or a black woman like Tiffany Haddish. Either way, this stereotype, clownery, buffoonery, whatever the shit's got to stop. I mean, this shit is ridiculous. This isn't the same as Marlon and Sean dressing up, portraying Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie. This isn't the same as Martin dressing up as that white guy for a couple of episodes. This is way different. Some people are going to say it's hypocritical or whatever. I just think racial tension is too high right now. Maybe 20 years ago, this would have been okay and acceptable, by the masses of black people. Black America probably would have been like, whatever, but in 2019, I think a lot of us are a lot more conscious socially. And I don't know. This is wild. But the fact that this white guy, thought that he could even do this just shows you the lack of respect that we have, and the lack of respect we even have for ourselves. Because I'm telling you, they don't do Asians and other race groups. They don't let people just run over them and disrespect them like we get disrespected. But when you allow yourself to just be, a fucking walking punchline, other people think that they can come up and crack jokes too. So I'm not surprised at all that this movie came out. But you can't compare it to Joanna Man or, we comedians have always played dress up, from the beginning of time. But this one right here definitely ruffled up some feathers, man. I'm gonna put the trailer in the bio if anybody wants to click on that shit. But yeah, I'm out.